Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Chicago Philippine Reports TV, still the #1 Filipino show in the Midwest. I'm Girly Pascual. Welcome to our show. Today we have all the top stories from the Philippines. We also have what's happening in our own Filipino-American community of Chicago. We have interesting interviews led by our very own executive producer, Miss Veronica Layton. We have Bridget Cotero Carino. All these are coming up and more afterward from our sponsors. Please stay with us.
The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO, faced a steady stream of questions from senators over its operations after its 5 major games offering multi-million peso payouts were won in just 1 month.
In less than 1 month, 5 laro ang tinamaan. May game na umabot na 500 million yung jackpot niya without augmentation. Then, ang theory, naka-attract na yan ng bettors. Bet na yan. And then, tignan natin, months muna bago tamaan . So, itong nangyari last December is really an anomaly. Hindi lang 1 game, 5 games.
Pimentel, who is a mathematician, says winning the jackpot in the 655 Lotto game would require betting the right numbers on nearly 29 million number combinations. For the senator, hitting consecutive jackpots is very questionable.
Ako yung nagdududa. Ang assumption kasi is pag 500 million na pesos na yung jackpot, andyan na yung interest na daw ng mga betting public, tatagtatayaan na sila. But when it happened naturally, it took months bago tamaan . And then all of a sudden, itong augmentation ng 5 laro, o 1 buwan lang, 10 lahat.
PCSO official says their operations are above board.
We do submit the alpha list, the so-called alpha list, Mr. Chair, indicating the names of the winners.
Senator Raffy Tulfo is also baffled by the PCSO's decision to increase the pot in their 649 game to 500 million pesos, which eventually ballooned to 640 million pesos. A lucky bettor won this life-altering prize last January 16. PCSO General Manager Melquiades Robles says there is nothing unusual with their actions. He explains they source their additional money from their prize fund to implement the special promotion to entice more bettors. In the end, according to Robles, the agency netted 800 million pesos in earnings. In total, the PCSO says it infused 1.7 billion pesos to the Lotto jackpot prizes. But Pimentel points out they have no clearance from the office of the president.
Really meant, pag nagdidip, kunyari, marami hong tinamaan, we decided po to use it. So Mr. Chairman, it got the same results and more. Kasi pati ang taxes po na naibigay sa gobyerno, mas malaki po dito in the span of 30 days ng promotion namin. So I think, Mr. Chairman, by and large, it's a very successful promo. Not only did we get the charity, but we generated more taxes po, and meron pa po kaming income from that.
Tulfo wants to amend the PCSO charter so its proceeds will be used to further increase funding in government's charity programs.
Sayang po kinita na po natin yung prize fund. Surplus, very good. Ang sarap pakinggan. May surplus. Ibig sabihin, surplus meaning sobra-sobra na. So, dapat yung sobra-sobra ng pera, i-boost natin doon sa kulang na ayuda sa mga nangangailangan natin pobreng kababayan. Which is chemotherapy, kidney dialysis, ambulansya, wheelchair, hospital bills, gamot, etc. etc.
Revenue allocation po namin is mandated by law. Talaga pong 30% will have to go to charity. Even if we wanted to pour all po the prize fund reserve, it will remain po sa prize fund po yun. Yun po ang if our charter will be amended po.
Meanwhile, Tulfo raised the possibility that a patron could bet on all number combinations to win the jackpot prize. He cites the 649 Lotto game as an example where a bettor could spend some 280 million pesos for all combinations through a dedicated Lotto machine. Robles, however, says a bet of this kind will show up in their records, and so far, no Lotto outlet has reported a bet that covers all combinations. Tulfo also asks about the possibility of manipulating the system to favor a bettor.
Nagsabuatan lahat. Halimbawa na lang. So yung may root access, kaya pa rin manipulahin yun. Palabasin natin na may nanalo. Hindi nyo ginawa yon. Wala akong binibinta. Possible or not?
Possible po.
When I came, yun din po ang una kong tinignan. But ang practice po is at 8:30, cut off na po. All bets are separated in a flash drive. Stand-alone po yun, it's not online. Pag nanonood po ang mga tao sa amin, almost real time po ang pagpasok ng bola dun sa stand-alone na yon. So I don't think it's possible.
To ensure transparency and integrity in the Lotto system, the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center has been tasked to investigate the machines and the process of picking the winning numbers.
We would set up a negotiated audit engagement.
The senators also directed the PCSO to re-examine the use of thermal paper in Lotto tickets, which fades in a few months. They say bettors who have 1 year to claim the prize could face problems during payout.
Most Asian stocks rose on Thursday, with China-related shares extending their rally to a third day after pledges of policy support. Investors await GDP data out of the U.S. and the European Central Bank's policy decision expected to stay on hold. Here at home, Philippine shares slipped, with the index down by 1/10%, settling at 66.73.
So hopefully, if there's positive news, that will, change there won't be any corrections, and we'll continue to stay where we are and continue to go up.
In corporate stories, Price Corporation fires the opening salvo for the earnings season, reporting a 32% jump in full-year 2023 net income to 2.2 billion pesos. That's on the back of strong sales volume of LPG and improving margins, especially in the Luzon market. These helped offset the drop in average contract price. Earnings per share of PPC for the year up to 1 peso and 7 centavos from just 81 centavos in 2022. That translates to a 32% growth. And Philinvest Development Corporation completes the payment of its 10-year fixed-rate retail bonds in the aggregate amount of 8.8 billion pesos. The bonds, which were issued by the company on January 24, 2014, matured this week.
It's more fun in the Philippines.
Oh, dapat!
Yan! Dito na! Perfect!
Do you need to get your hands on some extra money right now? Maybe $25,000 or more? If you're a homeowner, now is a perfect time to get cash out. While homes in many neighborhoods like yours have gone up in value, you can use the money for anything. It's yours. You can buy an investment property, pay for college, pay off higher interest debt, or make home improvements. A cash out refinance is the perfect solution to get the cash you need. If you need $25,000, $50,000, or even $100,000, now's the time. Home values are up, and so is your equity. We offer you a way to use it. No need to sell your home or use your savings. Call New American Funding now and speak to a cash out refi specialist and see how much cash out you can get.
Call New American Funding at 855-332-3929. That's 855-332-3929. Call 855-332-3929.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 901-245-4874. That's 901-245-4874. 901-245-4874. That's 901-245-4874.
Via Times, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. Via Times for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. Via Times has very interesting columnists. You name it, Via Times has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call Via Times at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to the Veronica segment of the show. Today, I have a very interesting person to interview in this cold weather in Chicago. His name is Mr. Dale Tippett, and Dale has been a good friend of ours, and he works as a managing real estate broker here in Chicago. And Dale will be talking to us about the future or the present status of real estate here in our little town of Chicago. Hi, Dale. Welcome to our show. And I also know that Dale has just come back from the Philippines, right? You spent your December month until Christmas in the Philippines, right?
That's correct. We had a wonderful time. We have family there, and we were in Pampanga, and we were invited to a wedding that was a must attend, and it was a beautiful event, and I had a great time. I was fortunate enough to co-officiate. I was able to bring the message at the wedding. I'm a bivocational pastor. I'm a real estate broker owner, what's now called a designated real estate managing broker. I know that's a mouthful, but every so many years, the state of Illinois changes what we call ourselves. So, but I'm a real estate broker and also a chaplain / pastor in the area. So I had the distinct honor of bringing the message at the wedding, and was able to do a Christmas Eve message as well there in one of the local churches that we've got an affiliation with. It was a great time.
Well, Dale, being a pastor and a realtor, and you're also involved in our community because
Yes.
you are also a contributor for the Via Times News magazine, and thank you so much for that. And so, you keep yourself so busy this way?
Yeah, it's well, you know what? It's already been 20 years since we've been friends, Veronica. I was thinking about that over the past couple of months. We met back in 2003, and it was the 4th of July, an Independence Day event. And we just kept in touch over the years. I've had a long-standing relationship, wonderful relationship with the Filipino community, and have so many friends. And it's just been a pleasure to be a part of the community and be running the circles with so many good times, so many good people, so much fun. It's been nice.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing you, Dale, well, since when I was a little girl.
That's right. That's exactly
Okay. Well, Mr. Del Tipet is married to a Filipina whose name is Lorna, and she's also very much involved in the community. But also, Lorna has a very beautiful project back in the Philippines. What is that project, Dale?
15 years ago, she planted a church there. And it was just something that was put on her heart to do something in the community where they are, geographically where they are. There were several communities that were impacted by the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the early 1990s. And parts of these various communities that were who had to relocate came into this one particular area that's a wonderful community now, but it was lacking another neighborhood church. And it was just put on her heart to go ahead and do that. And over the years, I first visited the church in 2009. It started in 2008. I went over there on business in 2009. And it was just a roughed out building, but they were having services. Now, of course, it's the same location, only it's expanded. And it's really just been a blessing to see how the community has benefited from it, and the neighborhoods, of course. And now they're going into like the next generation of young people that are coming up with that church influence. And it's very encouraging. So I got to give her credit for that. She just was obedient to the will of the Lord, and he put it on her heart, and she's been a good steward of that. So very, very happy for that. It's been a blessing.
Wonderful project. Congratulations to Lorna. And well, Mount Pinatubo is, or at the time was considered the activated volcano in the Philippines that really just so suddenly erupted. And the eruption itself has made so much damage and impact in the country. I remember that year. What year was that?
I think that was 1991, if I'm not mistaken. 90 or 91, I believe.
Yeah, I think so, around that time. Okay. We are in 2024, and you have a beautiful new year, and we really have to look forward to a beautiful life in this year. And Dale, can you please tell our viewing audience, as a realtor here in Chicago, the outlook for the real estate in Chicago?
Sure, I'd be happy to. When we first floated the idea about us getting together and maybe talking about what's coming up, a forecast, if you will, for 2024, I had mentioned, I said, I want to touch base with some of my colleagues. And because, in real estate, at least in Illinois, and particularly in Chicago, we have a lot of people that get involved in all of these transactions. And every one of these professionals has a different perspective. And it goes from the realtors to the attorneys to the loan officers to the home inspectors and so forth and so on. Over the last couple of years, it's been so unpredictable because of course, the variable of interest rates, inflation, all these big picture things that go on that actually do impact the retail user, the couple that's trying to buy their first home, or the retiree who's looking to downsize or make some other move. So it is very, very important. From my perspective, I work a lot with sellers who want to put their properties on the market and move. I work with a lot of older clientele as well, mature clientele. And it's a different perspective than someone who's just coming into the market to be a purchaser. However, we're all part of the same transaction, just trying to make this come together. So these variables, whether it's disposable income, the discretion of making a decision for maybe a buyer who says, I need to stop renting, I want to buy a home. Well, the cost of money, which is your interest rates, are very impactful. Taxes are incredibly impactful. And now in Chicago, there's something about a transfer tax that's been debated and is being debated on adding another fee for when a property is transferred. So all this boils down to affordability, and it can impact the marketplace. So I go to a meeting once a year in January. It's at the Executives Club. Typically, it's held downtown Chicago. And I go to this meeting because one of my mentors, I appreciate this lady so much. Her name is Terry Savage. You see her on Channel 9 News. She's been around forever, and in a good way, and very, very articulate. She hosts a economic outlook, and it's been going on for 44 years. She has the top economists on the panel, and it's just a handful. There's her and like 3 others. It's about an hour-long luncheon meeting, and they forecast what they think of what's going on in the economy. The consensus is they don't know. They honestly don't know. There's so much uncertainty right now. In 2022 to 2023, my real estate income dropped 30%. My expenses increased 30%. And that's not I don't think that that's unusual for a lot of us who are working professionals. I talked at a Chamber of Commerce event just a week ago. I spoke with a home inspector, and I've done business with this gentleman over the years many times. And he was saying, how are you doing? I says, well, last year I had a good, for 2023, I had a good first quarter in 2023, and then it trailed off after that. Now in 2024, I've got new listings that are coming on, and I've got some things that are happening. So I'm encouraged about this year. And he says, well, that mirrors his year because everything just stopped. There was a shortage of available properties, and he would need available properties for buyers to buy and for him to inspect. And so it's really a chain reaction that happens with one of these real estate transactions. 2 people get involved. Maybe it's you and me talking about the possibility of selling or buying. Well, then all of a sudden, before you know it, there's another agent involved, another client, be a buyer or seller, attorneys, 2 attorneys, a loan officer, insurance company. It just keeps on growing. So a lot of people are impacted. Most recently, this morning, I think it was this morning or yesterday, they're even monitoring the decline in furnishing sales, which shows a slowdown in home buying because your appliances and furnishings go with the purchase. You buy a new house, you want to paint it, you want to put items in there. And so the numbers for that have declined too. However, with real estate, it's very difficult to give a broad picture for an area because the marketplace changes so drastically depending upon where you are. You can cross the street and the whole marketplace changes. And so it really depends. I would say the forecast is we just have to proceed cautiously. I think the number one thing that folks need to do, whatever their position, if they're thinking of buying a property or selling a property, they have to look at what are they trying to really accomplish? Is this something that's discretionary? They just want to do it because they want to do it, or is it really a needs-based decision? I'm seeing more needs-based decisions. People are making a move because they can't wait anymore. They need to move on with their life. The discretionary buyer or seller, my particular marketplace, I don't see that as much where they said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and move and sell and whatever and go on. That's the question that one wants to ask, though, is what are you trying to accomplish? And is this the right time? Very important. The one person who can really help the most at the earliest stages possible. Just make a friend, a realtor. You know, you want to have a professional who's continually going to school, who's involved in that world, and knows the marketplace that you're interested in going to and where you're currently living. So, and I think that I did get word, and I talked to some loan officers, friends of mine, and then also what came from the economists, that everybody believes that interest rates are going to continue to trend downward. So they were as high as like almost 8% not that long ago, and then now they're probably in the mid sixes, something like that. But there's got to be a balance because, you know, taxes, you know, fall into that. And then what's the quality of life of where people are going to end up or move to? Schools are a big issue, and so forth. So there's a lot involved. But if those folks who need to move on, they can get a loan. They will be able to find a buyer. They will go ahead and be able to function. Do I think it's a good, robust, healthy market at this point? It remains to be seen. So just proceed cautiously and get a realtor. And I believe in Illinois, you know, there's a definite line between realtors or real estate practitioners. Not all real estate brokers or agents are realtors. I think you should be a realtor and belong to the National Association of Realtors and your local association. But there's a very, very definite line between what realtors can do and what attorneys do. It's just a good practice to have a realtor and get into that realm and have a real estate attorney that you can talk to as well to take care of your personal finances, if you will, with real estate. So hope that.
Yeah, Dale, that is really very, very interesting. It's really, it entails mind-boggling decisions, and the picture really does not look good. Does not look good to me. And but what can we do right now as as either buyers or sellers in the real estate market? We just wait and see what's going to be happening in our area, in the government positions and their laws and rules and regulations regarding real estate. Okay, well, Dale, that was very informative. What we talk about, we can still continue that in some other time. And I thank you really for gracing our show today. Maraming salamat, Dale.
Thank you very much.
At maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye, Dale.
Bye-bye now. See you.
See you.
This is a prayer and a reminder. All we have is now. Anak, umuwi ka na.
Worldwide this morning, growing concern over a growing health crisis.
The World Health Organization has just declared that this is a pandemic.
Hi. I can't hug you. Don't touch me.
Over the last several days, we have seen peaceful demonstrations.
Protests over police brutality continued here in Austin.
Remember when you started going to college? You came home a liberal?
Dad, please.
That's what we do to you guys in school.
All these people that we never met and never will meet because of what had happened to them. It's just too much.
The way that our family communicates is not necessarily, it's not great.
What advice would you give for those of us that are struggling?
Deal with it.
I think the norm for our communities has been to just stay silent and like keep to your own business.
I could definitely be doing more than I'm doing right now, and I know that others can as well.
What if someone is
called from God to be an activist?
I can answer that question.
Shouting revolution, oh wow, breaking each tradition.
You don't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement?
An advocacy group reporting at least 3,800 anti-Asian hate incidents since last March.
I'm kind of conflicted. I'm like, maybe I should move home and be here with them.
I hope that this moment makes you take a step forward and a step together in the right direction.
In order for a subject to not be taboo in our community, there always has to be like someone to start that conversation.
You speak up for me when I can't speak up for myself. And I've seen you do that for other people.
I see a lot of people who just kind of cut off friends and family, and I don't think I can do that. I love my parents.
This is a symbol of our voices. If you look at your neighbors around you, you will see who stands with you, who stands for you.
At least I know that you can stand up. That's the thing I'm so happy about.
Do you need to get your hands on some extra money right now? Maybe $25,000 or more? If you're a homeowner, now is a perfect time to get cash out. While homes in many neighborhoods like yours have gone up in value, you can use the money for anything. It's yours. You can buy an investment property, pay for college, pay off higher interest debt, or make home improvements. A cash out refinance is the perfect solution to get the cash you need. If you need $25,000, $50,000, or even $100,000, now's the time. Home values are up, and so is your equity. We offer you a way to use it. No need to sell your home or use your savings. Call New American Funding now and speak to a cash out refi specialist and see how much cash out you can get.
Call New American Funding at 855-332-3929. That's 855-332-3929. Call 855-332-3929.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Welcome to Veronica's segment of the show today. I have a very exciting, interesting, and very dynamic person in this show for our interview today. His name is Dr. Floyd Ski Chilton. Did I pronounce it right?
You sure did.
Ski, but he's more known for Dr. Ski, right?
Yes, that's right, Veronica.
Okay, Dr. Ski is an innovator, academician, and entrepreneur. How's that? Those are heavy words and heavy things to do. Dr. Ski, you're so impressive. I'm really impressed. And those are just some of the adjectives that describe you online. And you're here today because of your recent project. And you're also a microbiologist, right? Are you?
I'm a biochemist, yes, but close.
I see. And you've written several books. He will be talking to us today about his currently released book entitled Another Way. There is another way to happiness. I wonder what's this all about. And Dr. Ski, I really have to ask you, what is another way to happiness? Can you please tell our viewing audience?
Sure. Well, we in the U.S. in particular, we we think the way to happiness is increasing wealth, increasing our standard of life, increasing our education, increasing so many of those things, keeping up with our neighbors and things such as that. And if that had been the case for me, then I would have been incredibly happy. I have a 52-page CV, published 160 papers, 6 books, 6 companies. If that had been the way to happiness, I would have found happiness. But it's not the way to happiness, and there's a major, I think, misconception. According to a recent Harris poll, 2/3 of Americans are not happy. And that's really, really sad. And many Americans live their lives in quiet desperation. And so the book that I wrote before this book was called The Rewired Brain. And it really talks about the incredible influence of our unconscious minds and our unconscious minds to really create a nightmare for our conscious minds and for ourselves. And I remember writing the book, and the book has been very successful. That book has, and I was at a book signing, and a woman came up to me and she goes, "I hate you." She said, "You told me in no uncertain terms why my life was so messed up, but you didn't provide me a solution." And she was correct. And in my new book, There Is Another Way to Happiness, I provide a solution.
Dr. Ski, isn't it that when we were born, well, starting from babyhood, we were really naturally happy?
I think for those of us, I grew up very poor. I grew up in a house without a bathroom in the Appalachian Mountains. I think there was a lot of resilience that we built up, but our unconscious minds, the minds that we don't even know are there, were built for survival, and they were built for protection. So they don't really care if we're happy. They want to remember the past. They want to remember our childhood traumas. They want to focus on the future. They don't want you to get kicked out of the tribe. So loneliness is pervasive. So almost every sad or dysfunctional emotion comes out of these unconscious minds, this back of our brain. And it's no different than the animals, and they come out of the back of our brain and they create anxiety within us, and they create sadness, and they create fear. And for me, the opposite of love is fear, and they create fear. And once fear is created, there cannot be happiness.
Dr. Ski, so growing up, people, when they grow up, there are several factors that make them, or they make them learn some lessons, or maybe that affects their happiness. Is that what you're talking about? When
Yeah.
as you grow up, and you, with all the experiences that we have in life, makes us unhappy. That's why 2/3 of the population are unhappy.
Yeah, I think we have some good experiences, but to be quite honest, we have some bad experiences. And we especially have some difficult experiences that are remembered from childhood. And so there's a lot from our past that sits in our unconscious minds and reminds us of that. So we have to be able to monitor our minds. We have to be able to look at ourselves and go, what am I thinking right now? And the second question is, why am I thinking this? Why am I where is this coming from? And the third is, is this thought making me happy? Am I making myself happy? Because if you want to make yourself unhappy, you want to change your life, you want to change your happiness, change your thoughts.
Is that are those thoughts coming from our unconscious mind or conscious mind?
They're coming from our unconscious mind, but we only feel them, we sense them. So if we see something that was a threat from our past, we see something that was a childhood trauma, if we're feeling lonely, these are coming from our unconscious mind. And once we feel them, then we turn them into conscious thoughts. We go, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of that. Wow, that happened before. I'm not going to let that happen again. Why? So we focus on the future, focus on not things happening again. And again, that occupies the vast majority of our thoughts. And happy things don't occupy the vast majority of our thoughts. So we have to rewire our minds. Our minds are naturally thinking about these things from our past. They're focused on the future. They're focused on control. Like I said, almost every sad or dysfunctional emotion can be traced back to your unconscious mind.
All right, that's really quite heavy to me. Um, you wrote in your book that there are steps to uh, really, I don't know how many steps for people to rewire their brains for happiness.
Yeah, there are 4 steps, and I'll briefly go through the 4 steps. And there's 13 weeks of meditation, mindful meditations at the end of the book. But the 4 steps are: realize, first of all, awaken to consciousness, cast, see, realize that there are 2 yous in you. There's 2 brains in your head. There is this modern brain, this brain that humans uniquely have, but we have in the back of our heads these unconscious minds. And they're competing for our attention. I use the metaphor, I say it's as if we're standing on a train platform, and these unconscious thoughts are constantly coming, and they're constantly vying for our attention. And once they stop at the platform, they open the door. Now we can get on board and we can ruminate that for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of our lives. Or we can not get on board and say, you know what, not today. I'm not going there today. That's not. So the first step is awakening to consciousness. There are these 2 yous in you. The A part of CAST is enhancing your awareness. It's important for you to understand, or for us to understand, what is driving these thoughts. Where did they come from? What were our childhoods like? What were the threats in our childhood? What was the trauma? Now, we don't want to live there. We don't want to live in that. But once we're aware of them, then we can start saying, oh, that's why I'm thinking that way. That's where that's coming from. The S part of CAST, CAS part of CAST, is the art of surrender. Either you're in control, or you need to be in control, or you be happy. But controlling your life in every circumstance will not allow happiness. So we must surrender that control. We must allow ourselves to be happy. And then the last step is trust the process. And once you've done all of those things, it's believing that you're where you are when you're supposed to be there. And you're here for a higher calling. You're here for a purpose. You're here to change the world. You're here to love the world. And you, if you're a person of faith, then you're doing that. You're co-creating with a divine source. And so those are the 4 steps that I go over in the book. And those are the 4 steps that have meditations, the 13 weeks of meditations at the end of the book.
Can you describe yourself or after writing this book as a happy person, Dr. Ski?
I really am a lot happier than I was. I felt like, well, not I felt like I had accomplished, I may be in many ways the most successful person I know, but in my mid 40s to 50s, I was taking handful of antidepressants, handful of anti-anxieties. I was coming out of a second unsuccessful marriage. It seemed like I could accomplish anything. It seemed like I could save the world, but I was hurting those I loved the most, and they were hurting me. And I was unwilling to live with this inconsistency. I was unwilling to live with, on one hand, being able to save the world, on the other hand, being in such pain. And I tell people, pain, as long as you don't succumb to pain, or as long as you don't make yourself a victim to pain, congratulations in the new year if you're feeling pain, because you're going to grow, and you're going to grow in a big way. And so I took an 8-year mindfulness journey. It culminated with a devastating horse accident. An Arabian I was trying to train broke my pelvis in half and tried to kill me one Sunday afternoon. I was in a wheelchair, told I would never walk again, told my quality of life would be gone. And I sit in front of a palm tree that I call Divine Presence, and I developed this caste system for happiness.
Well, very interesting, and I think it boils down to having a strong faith, right, Dr. Ski?
Yeah, I'm very connected. I I've been in Africa for 25 years. I've been able to, there it does, our conscious minds, our unconscious minds cannot connect to divinity, our faith, but our conscious minds can. And that's the whole reason for getting into the conscious mind, because that's the thing that makes us uniquely human. And we can connect to the divine through that conscious mind. And once we connect to the divine, I use a term called co-create, and that we become vessels at that point for loving the world and loving other people. And we're co-creating with divinity to be able to do that. So faith for me is vitally important. That's a little, most scientists may not feel that way, but I'm a little unusual in terms of my faith in divinity.
You're so amazing. I find you so amazing, but our interview is ending. But, I've never met somebody who was a scientist and at the same time has so much faith and in connection, the connection that you're talking about with with God for sure. And I really would like to read your book. Maybe you can send me a copy of your book, and it really sounds interesting. There is another way to happiness. There is Dr. Floyd Ski Chilton talking about it, and he's got the right to talk about happiness. That he wrote that because he wrote the book, and also at the same time he is so much well accomplished person, distinguished, and an entrepreneur and an academician. Wow. And Dr. Chilton, I'm really so thankful for for you to grace our show today.
Veronica, it's been a pleasure, and you be blessed, my friend. Be blessed.
Yes, okay. You enjoy your weather. We're not enjoying our weather here right now. But thank you for gracing our show. And I wish you good luck and and congratulations to all what you're doing. Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
We would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon, this is Bridget Carino-Quetter bringing you this week's local news from our community. More chain stores closed in 2023 as a result of high inflationary costs, with the trend continuing in 2024, led by the iconic department store Macy's. In 2023, retail stores, pharmaceutical, and fast food chains continued a trend of previous years, declaring bankruptcy and closing their doors or shutting down some locations to cut costs, citing inflation, higher costs, and profit losses. Sears, once the largest retailer in the world with more than 700 stores in the U.S., shuttered hundreds of locations. Now only 12 locations remain. New York-based specialty athletic retailer Foot Locker also announced it was closing 400 stores in North America by 2026, after reporting sales, gross margins, and net income losses. The Illinois Board of Higher Education has awarded $400 million in grants through the Independent Colleges Capital Investment Grant Program to 45 institutions of higher education in Illinois in partnership with the Illinois Capital Development Board. The goal of the program is to provide financial assistance to private, non-for-profit colleges and universities in Illinois for the construction, repair, and renovation of infrastructure on campuses to provide equitable learning experiences to students across the state. As part of the application process and aligned with the IBHE's goal to close equity gaps, institutions submitted equity plans to describe their holistic strategies for closing gaps in enrollment, persistence, completion, and student loan repayment for historically underrepresented students, including students from low-income households, students of color, working adults, and students from rural areas. Chicagoans reported 29,063 motor vehicle thefts in 2023, the most car thefts in 23 years. But as the record crime wave surged last year, city efforts to catch car thieves also reached historic lows. The arrest rate for car theft fell to 2.6%, its lowest level since the city started tracking the crime in 2001 through its Chicago data portal. Car thefts were up 26% for the year and were more than triple the number reported before the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019. Sales of previously occupied U.S. homes sank in 2023 to a nearly 30-year low as mortgage rates climbed to the highest level in more than 2 decades and prices hit record highs, pushing home ownership out of reach for many Americans. The National Association of Realtors said Friday that existing U.S. home sales totaled 4.09 million last year, an 18.7% decline from 2022. That is the weakest year for home sales since 1995 and the biggest annual decline since 2007, the start of the housing slump of the late 2000s. The median national home price for all of last year edged up just under 1% to record high of $389,800, the NAR said. The Illinois Department of Transportation announced it has been awarded $7.1 million in federal funds to fix electric vehicle chargers available to the public statewide. The funding, made possible through the Federal Highway Administration's Electric Vehicle Charger Reliability and Accessibility Program, helps support Governor J.B. Pritzker's goal to have 1 million EVs on the road in Illinois by 2030. This investment will help improve the reliability and accessibility of charging stations throughout the state, said Illinois Transportation Secretary Omar Osman. Under Governor Pritzker, IDOT is committed to modernizing transportation and expanding green practices. This award is an important step in that direction. The grant will repair, replace, or upgrade an estimated 93 Level 2 ports and 34 direct current fast charging DCFC ports at various locations throughout the state. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our news this week. This is Bridget. See you next time.